As per the code, among the members, 348 are in attendance, and the quorum is complete. Today, the agenda for today is the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia Prime Minister, His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Federal Government 2017 Ethiopian calendar, the first half. He shall present the performance and he shall answer to the questions to be raised by the members of the parliament, and we shall listen to the explanation to be given by the Prime Minister accordingly. To present questions to the Prime Minister among the registered members, I shall give first Honorable Birke Baharu. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Your Excellency Prime Minister, that you are among us today to answer to the question to be raised by the members, and that you are among us. I would like to thank you. Before I present my questions, I would like to comment on the performances made. As we know, our country, starting from the time of change, there has been numerous internal and external challenges. Despite that, by the commitment and the strength of our people, Ethiopia is moving and traveling towards prosperity, starting from the beginning up until performance, practical performance, development activities. They are not only activities that free us from poverty, but as citizens to have better future generation. This is human focused or oriented activities are underway, and for this your mature leadership and bravery to face different challenges, you have shown that. And for that, as an example, in Addis Ababa, at every corner, corridor development activities, and those who have no displaced people, to rehabilitate them, to resettle them, and they have been given an opportunity for trade activities, and their social interaction has been maintained beautifully. The Galangura activity, the school constructed there, those who were not displaced from Kazanchis, the Galangura schools established there, KG up until secondary school, trade activities, sporting activities area, where to feed elderly people, and creating employment opportunity for females. What we have seen in general, the Kazanchis resettlements and the corridor development, and to maintain the livelihood of the people displaced from Kazanchis. But there are rumors in some social medias that state that the people are suffering. We have witnessed that propaganda is false, and we have been able to see that they are living in a very suitable and comfortable condition. Accordingly, Bole Bulbula Park, those were displaced and the farmers displaced, to rehabilitate them, to resettle them. Quality livestock development and agriculture excellence and market center, all are encouraging. As a country, they should further expand. These are good experiences to be duplicated. This has changed the date of yesterday to the opportunities of today. A strong government, when it establishes strong Sky Industries and our country's technology and industries, they have contributed a lot to our economy and to make Ethiopia as example or model of development in Africa, to make it, competent. This is an activity, achievement that history can never forget. That generation to come will be proud of. We have seen that. These are the country we have to further expand it, to continue it. This should be the share or the responsibility of all of us. And the basis for this is, commitment. We need very committed leadership for that. And I would like to thank the Prime Minister for you and those who follow your exemplary, who are working day and night to bring about development for the country. Saying this, now I shall proceed to my question. In Ethiopia, the crisis that we are witnessing, many crises, one of them and the main one is backward political culture. Political agendas, instead of solving them through discussion or dialogue, our experience and practice is low. Killing each other, destroying each other. Still, that is making us to pay price for that. The government and the leading party solving the problems in a peaceful way through discussion. So the activities done on that and the results obtained and the focus direction that come. What is the direction that is to come? In general, the Pretoria Agreement in the northern part of our country, the peace that has been that is according to agreement to bring about lasting peace. Many activities, there are points of agreement or articles of agreement. At what status they are? DDR, it is implementation. What does it look like? And taking the displaced people back to their settlements, to their homes. Finally, in Tigray region, the current political condition in Tigray, not to have it to go to conflict and not to pay us price again. What activities are underway, what the government is doing in that regard. Thank you very much. Next. Fakado Shashalo, Honorable. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Your Excellency, Prime Minister, members of that you are here among us to respond to the questions from members that you are among us. I would like to thank you. Now I shall proceed to my question as follows. Among the people, there are justice, accessibility, and problems in good governance and bad practices. To correct them, there are different legal frameworks and they have started not to be implemented. That's good. Yet, as per complex and multifaceted problems, still the justice center, the justice organ is facing problem, and many complaints are against them. Theft and corruption are also rampant in this area. To bring about basic changes regarding the direction to have been to be set by the government, I would like to hear more on that. Thank you very much. Next, Sumay Sahalu, Honorable Sumay Sahalu. Thank you, Honorable Speaker and Prime Minister. Before going to my question, Your Excellency Prime Minister, though there are many activities awaiting for us due to your leadership, there are no relative peace. And I would like to thank you that those who have contributed to the top and the bottom, to the security structure and to the considerate our people, I would like to thank them also to maintain this relative peace through the help of federal government. There are also many development activities. We have seen that by our own eyes in Addis Ababa, human focused activities, Amhara and Oromia, in the past 6 months, where we have not gone. In February, we have seen that we have been able to see and discuss our people. That practice should be encouraged. Next to my question, I shall read out my question. Your Excellency Prime Minister, our country, foreign and internal enemies, defending them and maintaining peace and security of the people, especially maintaining the rule of law. That activities are very encouraging. This is expected from a government that focus on people, on human being. But in our country these days are being affected by extremists. They are being killed cruelly, and many inhuman activities are being committed against our people. Your Prime Minister, this has become problem to the free movement of commodities and people. That's affecting those activities negatively. To solve these problems permanently, what activities are being done? Your Excellency, to solve this problem from the very basis, what activities are underway to solve it permanently? I would like to hear on that. Thank you very much. Dr. Slashi Kore next. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Your Excellency Prime Minister, that you are among us to give explanation and response to our questions. First, coffee is the first export commodity for the country, and it contributes a lot to the economy of the country and helping the livelihood of many poor farmers. That's clear. Ethiopia is the first in Africa in coffee production, and in Arabica coffee export, it is the 5th in the world. Currently, when we compare the activity of the trade in activity, it is 3.5 more as compared to the plus. Gedio farmers have gotten good prices for their coffee, and they have asked to deliver their gratitude to the government. These farmers deserve incentives. Next, in this year, the manufacturing sector problem of inputs have been solved, and to create better capacity, the activities done are very encouraging. But however, still in the manufacturing sector, there are problems of inputs. The government, to solve this problem, there are development organization. Ethiopian Industry Input Supply Organization has been established, but still the sector requires more capital, and it has not yet encouraging legal frameworks. The sector couldn't do in full capacities, so the manufacturing sector to solve the problem of inputs permanently, given the benefits and the contribution it gives to the country, well, that's known. To solve this problem in inputs of industry, to solve it and to achieve the goal in this regard, what plan is there? Thank you very much. In the manufacturing sector, thank you very much. Next, Honorable Kumali Gadisa. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Your Excellency Prime Minister, that you are among us to respond, to give explanation to the questions among members of the Parliament. I would like to thank you. Now I shall proceed from my question as follows. These reports and activities, performance of different sectors in the past 6 months, when we see them, it is very visible and hope-creating. This performance as compared to the past 10 years, based on the plan, 10 years development plan, to achieve the goals of that plan. There are very convincing performance are there that enable us to attain the 10 years plan. 2016, 5.7 million. 2017, more than 6 million, 6.1. That was the plan. In 2016, Ethiopian calendar, $4.8. 2017, $5.1 million. Yeah, to obtain that. That was the plan. But in the sectors, this shows now that there are not enough activities. So the government is why that's not balanced, the plan and the performance. Why they are working below the plan. In these sectors, I would like to hear more on that. But if that they are not led by that, so day and night we are working on that, and can we achieve that? So the economic performance of the country, the big indicators, if we measure them, what is the level of performance then? The reason why I'm raising this question is so our economy is increasing, so we have to balance that. On the other part, the activities of economy as a country in collection of revenues in the past 6 months, that's big hope creating, but strengthening, encouraging, but the expanding of government to balance the spending and the revenue in the past 6 months. I would like to hear more on that, the revenue and the spending of the government. Thank you. Next, Honorable Brahano Ankara. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Your Excellency Prime Minister, that you are among us to respond to the question from members that you are among us. I would like to thank you. Next, I shall proceed to my question. So the government has made complete reforms and to reduce the impact of the economic reform, fuel, medicine, edible oil, and soil fertilizer subsidies being done by the government. In the past 6 months alone, 72.4 billion Ethiopian birr, the government has subsidized the fuels, especially in fertilizer. The encouraging steps and measures taken by the government that should be strengthened. It deserves gratitude. Now our country, the current condition we are in, when we see that this should be strengthened, and I believe that. While this is so, the government, by resisting different international pressures, the fuel that it imports by big subsidy, now the price is falling in the market, especially in some regional cities. It is being sold illegally by violating the price that has been set for it. But this incident is exacerbating the price hike, and it has become a reason for bad governance, and there are big complaints from the government in that regard, and we have been able to see that in different ways. Therefore, Your Excellency Prime Minister, so this fuel price that's increasing from month to month. What is the actual reason? To fight illegality so that people can easily get fuel, and to stretch strong controlling system and solve these problems. What the government is currently doing. Thank you very much. The fuel. Thank you. Next, Honorable Yezna Mulat. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Your Excellency Prime Minister, that you are among us to answer to our questions. Thank you very much for that. Now I shall present my question as follows. As country price hike and increasing living cost, I believe that the government is doing encouraging activities. In 2016, December, inflation was 23%. In 2017 Ethiopian calendar, in December, it has reduced to 17%, 17. Food commodities in 2016 in December, it was 18.7%. Non-food items in 2016 December, it was 26.1%. In 2017 December Ethiopian calendar, it has reduced to 14%. We have been able to see that, and we have seen that in the report. But currently, civil servants and those who are low income, due to this inflation, how can we say that inflation has decreased? This report, how can it's comparable to the actual situation? There are so many legal merchants that are increasing, what action has been taken against these illegal merchants. Thank you very much. Next, Partim Africa. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And the Prime Minister of this big country, Prime Minister, regarding the 6 months performance, that you are here to respond and give explanation to the question raised by the members, I would like to thank you. Honorable Speaker, Your Excellency Prime Minister, when we are talking about the domestic economy, it requires diligence from each and everyone, especially agricultural sector, that is lion's share. Therefore, the government and the ministerial office, we need that the activities by government and the Minister of Agriculture should strengthen. Especially the initiative of the Prime Minister are very fruitful. I would like to say that to increase productivity and production of the agricultural sector. Research centers do have big contribution. Food and ensuring food research are very decisive. They are being robbed. Their roles are being robbed by city administrations. So we have to save the agricultural ministry. The other thing, in the agricultural research, inputs and medicines. So the researchers in Ministry of Agriculture, in connection with their workers, international research institutions, inputs and the standard international, when medicines exported, so that may need them to go to the manufacturers abroad and do examination. They are being not allowed to travel abroad. Those even who have no diplomatic passports are not allowed to go out of the country. How do you see? The other thing, so the regulatory organizations, these regulatory organizations to work freely as per the power given to them. I don't believe that they are working with their full capacity. There is conflict of power. They are accountable to ministers. For example, Medicine and Drugs Authority, The ministry cannot control because there is no conflict of interest. Due to this conflict, it's the fuel problem, that is marketing problem. Governments are giving subsidies in billions. There is no shortage. These regulatory organizations, authority, they should be free. They should have their own regulatory organizations, or they should come under the Prime Minister. Third, take a market, seller and consumer. It is not defined by markets. There are no brokers here and there. There is no problem of inputs or supply. The tax system is not clear. On the taxpayer, there is no big load and burden. Especially those small traders are suffering a lot. They are going out of business. So wholesalers, they don't give receipts. Those retailers who request for receipts, they are not given receipt by wholesalers. So there are problems. Tax organization, they have tips and they know it. And instead of asking seriously, they put the burden on retailers, on small traders. There are bargaining among these tax collectors and individuals. When they borrow from the banks, these traders, they may work on that. So the tax collectors, so they are forced to negotiate with the tax collectors. They are making no trust these tax collectors. That should be given an answer. The other thing, security of our country, it is relatively doing good. Now it's getting better. I don't need it. You need about war, and as you see, and I believe, instead of fighting among each other 2 years, it's better to negotiate for 20 years. You said that some are saying that peace is peaceful. Sometimes it's said that it's better now as compared to the previous time. You try to deceive the people. The defense force is not restless. It is fighting. It should be determined for peace by creating an institution that the government can rely on. That's better. In the northern part of our country, so long ago, since peace has been destroyed, leaders are being died. There are no fighting in the air, on the ground. Though it is Oromia, leaders are dying there. We couldn't bring about permanent solution beyond negotiation. The government should practically show its commitment for peace. How long TPLF is to disturb peace? It is power addict. They are violating the Pretoria Agreement. They should be told to behave properly. So the federal government and prosperity, those who are in Tigray, they should come together and peace should be created. This requires your attention, I think, Your Excellency. Finally, regarding infrastructure, currently we cannot deny that there are numbers of projects that we have begun, we have seen, especially Gabata al-Shagar, Gabata al-Hagar, Gabata al-Tulid. These are very good projects, though they have no gaps. Corridor development is also bringing change, and that has been mainly done by you. There are big development activities. We are witness for that. Those who are being displaced by development activities, we have to listen to them. Instead of responding to them through cadres, I don't say cadres are not healthy, but better that others may interfere and see the problem of displaced people. That there is no justice in development. In fact, we cannot cover all of them, but we can prioritize and we can develop them. Central Ethiopia region, it lacks a lot. It needs attention. Road, industrial parks. These are parts of the gebetas of the country. We have to think about that. And you know it. Central Ethiopia region, as compared to other, though it is central, it is undeveloped zone. It is needless to tell you to that. You know it. Finally, regarding election constituents, that area has very attractive resources. There are manpower, well educated, trained, but that area, there are obstacles to its development, resources, so that districts and zones may not receive. Road is the main problem there. This road, this is not a question that we have begun today. It is long-standing question. This Warada, former southern region, former Ethiopian Road Authority, current Ethiopian Road Administration, even committees were administered that a study could be conducted, and the study were begun, but due to different issues that happened in our country, that has not been responded to regarding. So there is a saying, Amharic saying, the child whose mother has gone to the market and whose mother has died, they cry equally. So the problems differ. Your Excellency, your activities, your practical response, I would like to think over that. I would beg for that. The other is irrigation. Irrigation has begun. A lot of resource has been invested there. Now it has been sealed by silt, but not yet completed, and this is causing loss. That project is discontinued. We have seen this to tropical area ministry, but no response from the ministry so far. That should get attention properly. Thank you very much. Next, Honorable Jambara Yala.
Thank you for being here among us, and I will present my question in the following means. So as a country, for the past 3 years, we have seen a lot of illegal activity in our attempts to get a port, and we see that it is necessary for us to change the history of the current generation, and we really admire the diplomatic efforts that the government is putting in to get a port for the country. And as indicated in the report, Ethiopia has signed an agreement with Somaliland to get the services of the port, and our efforts in this direction are being strengthened as well. So, Honorable Prime Minister, if you could please elaborate on the benefits that we have gotten after these agreements have been signed, and what achievements or what results have been gotten, and what areas of focus will be prioritized in the future in this endeavor of getting a port. Thank you very much. Next, Adisu Asafa, Honorable Adisu Asafa will be asking the questions. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you for being among us to answer the questions of the members of the Council. Our government has really proven that it has focused on the well-being of the people, and the corridor project is big signifier of this, and 137,000 houses are in the pipeline to be built or have been built. And we see the efforts in also reducing the price of living in Ethiopia. But many portions of the society are in need of getting housing service in Addis Ababa. As we see from 1997 in the Ethiopian calendar, after the condominium service started, many people have been saving money to get this housing service. So we want to know if all these people's needs have been met. In addition to this, we know that the corridor project is being conducted in other cities outside of Addis Ababa as well. So we want to know what the evaluation or the understanding is to the pressure that it will bring on the finances of the people. And we see that the implementation of this corridor project is causing a lot of discomfort and a lot of pressure on individuals, on households. So what is the consideration for this? And what solution projects or what solution plans are in place to solve these issues? Thank you very much. The next speaker is Mesarat Maduli. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you for being here to give all the questions that are being raised by council members. Our government in the past year has given special focus to livestock and agriculture sectors, and has given 19.6 million to support these priority sectors to the sector to local governments. So we would like to appreciate this stance of the government, but as signified or as stated in the report, 24.05 quintals of fertilizer was planned to be bought, but what was actually bought is only 13.4 millions. This is 55% of the planned or the budgeted amount, and only 2 million of this was distributed among the different regions. So I would like to ask an explanation for this, and what future problems might occur, what future risks might occur. The next speaker is Ato Abu Daban. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for being here to give a response to the questions that are being raised by the members of the council. So I will give my comment and my question in the following manner. Honorable Prime Minister, based on your initiative, we see you are working on projects that fit the honor of the Ethiopian people. And among these are projects that are being done on tourism, in space science, artificial intelligence, and the Addis International Convention Center, the Drone Production Center, and all of these projects are projects that will protect the sovereignty of our country, including missile production factory. So as we have visited these different projects, I've seen these myself, and for also the food provision improvement plan is also in motion, and all these successes have been recorded in very short time. So I'd like to appreciate your mature leadership for bringing all of these results in such a short time. So now my question is, now as to the plan where we planned to reduce the import of wheat, but to encourage the production of it locally. We know that many wide farms have been clustered, and also with the use of modern mechanized farming, we see that there's progress. However, some places have the land is not uniform, and the land is very difficult for the farmers to be productive on these plots. So I would like to ask if there is any plan to help these farmers in the productivity of their land. In addition to this, we see that there are job creation projects for up to 8 million young people inside and outside of the country, and we see that there is a very large portion or population of young people seeking employment. So I would like to ask what percentage of this is being addressed with these projects. And then in addition to this, how much of these jobs created are targeted at the agricultural sector? How much of this is also targeting the job opportunities for young women? So what is the future plan, the plans for the future in this area? Thank you very much. Dr. Mabrato Sambet will present the next question. Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable. Thank you for being here to answer our questions. My questions for you will be read. First is for sustainable peace building in the country. We know that building sustainable peace and dialogue projects are being implemented in different parts of the country. So to give peace, what is the government doing to promote sustainable peace in the country? My second question is about the Renaissance Dam. As the Prime Minister knows, the Grand Renaissance Dam project was completed with very impressive, is being completed with very impressive speed, and I am very proud to be part of the generation that concluded this project. But as to the road that leads up to the dam, we know that a Chinese company was responsible or had taken the contract for this, but it has been delayed. And then there's the road that leads up to the dam is very rough and is very dangerous for persons and property that is traveling up to the Gilgal Meles area. In a few weeks ago or a few months ago, we had gone to visit the dam, and the road was very rough. We had a very difficult time. But once we got there, we had a good time. Another question we saw is that there is a very unstable supply of power to the people in the area. In addition to this, there were people that were moved because of this project. So what compensation was given to these people? And the power supply that is given to the people in the area, what plans are there to give them a stable power supply? The next question is to party management, or the multi-party management system. It's the multi-party system is the rule of our country. We know that this is how our country functions, but in Benshangul Gumuz, the Borodokse party, members were elected, but recently we saw that they did an improvement to the regional constitution, and took illegal activities by the representatives, the people's representatives in their area. They had asked for answers to this, and instead of answering their question or inquiry properly, they were imprisoned. So the only question they asked was that the federal constitution be respected, and a council member should not be thrown into prison for inquiring into the violation of the constitution. And we see many of us are being attacked by the media, attacked in public. We know that the improvement of articles in the constitution are a priority area, and we were working on this for a long time, but the change to the article was made in a sudden meeting that was hosted. So is this appropriate? I had traveled to South Africa a few weeks ago, and I saw that in one region, the Democratic Alliance was managing that region, but the ANC still participates or as a opposition party, but they manage the region very peacefully. For me, I live in Arba Minj, but when I went to Asusa, I was shocked because the region is not being managed properly. Benshangul is not being managed properly. We grew up there, but we see that the region is not receiving great development, proper development. I have visited Afar, I've visited Somali, Harar, Dreda. The developments that are being done in those regions are very different. There is a huge disparity between the development efforts among regions. And then there was a compensation that was given, an increase to salaries as a compensation for the inflation rate. But these salaries have not been paid, so many government employees, including teachers, are asking that the improvement to their salary be paid to them immediately. So Honorable Prime Minister, I'm very certain that you will have solutions for these challenges. We believe that these challenges will be evaluated and a response will be given to them soon. In addition, within this same region, everything is moving in contraband. Here, gold, other even finances, money, cash is moving illegally in this region. So although the money that is moving in that region is very small, even the gold is taken out by contraband dealers. When we have discussions with employees, they say, please give us our money in cash. We don't get to receive cash because the bank doesn't have enough money and doesn't give enough of their payment to the people in cash. So what solution is being planned by the government for these challenges? Thank you very much. Next.
that you are among us, I would like to thank you. I shall present my question as follows. In our country, in this short period of time that has been begun by you and completed by you, there are so many mega projects that can move and transfer to generations as per the timeline given or set for them. You have made us to practice, starting and finishing. You deserve, respect and gratitude for that. Therefore, since the change has started, among the areas that has witnessed the big changes is project implementation. That's one of them. However, with regards to infrastructure, construction, irrigation, road, potable water, their implementation, there are delays in them in different areas. Many of them are suffering delays. In federal government, this to complete them quickly and make them ready for service, and what plan is there for quick project completion? I would like to hear that. Thank you. Honorable Yeshia. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Your Excellency Prime Minister, that you are among us to respond to the questions from the members, that you are among us. Thank you very much. I shall present my question as follows. My question is on education. In the education sector, shaping generation, making generation to give quality education in an equitable way, and we know that. Therefore, in the 6 months performance, those children who should come to school, 24% of them, or 7 million, more than 7 million students are not going to school due to different reasons. That has been indicated in the report. So with this, so our children that are to receive the country in the future, so the government should take responsibility and to solve the problems that stand before the school. Why the government couldn't do that? Why the government couldn't help the children to go to school? I would like to hear explanation on that. The other thing, the office of first lady, there are many activities that have changed our attitude, have been done. All of us understand that, but in different parts of our country, there are many tourist destinations. There are different needs of our people. So there are questions not answered to in different areas. Where I'm elected from, Dangla region, Dangla area, there are many tourist destination areas. Zangana Lake, Diski Fontaine, there are so many of them. And there is better education there. This and other where the services has not been reached to. So I would like the government to facilitate to reach those areas in the future. Thank you very much. Next, Honorable Aster Kafetau. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Your Excellency Prime Minister, that you are among us to respond to and explain the questions we are to raise, and that you are among us. Thank you very much. I would like to make my comments and questions as follows. In our country, the tourism destination and to expand them after the reform and the change reform government, and due to your initiative, Gabata Lahagar project, Gabata Letulid, Gabata Shagar projects, and the corridor development and others, and other existing tourism destinations, by reviving them, beautifying them, within the country and from abroad, and you have made them open to them to visit. You have made big changes in this area, and you have energized this area. Therefore, in different ways, there are areas where didn't benefit from development. By going down to them and see our zone, for your contribution, even the help you have given to our zone. I would like to make my gratitude and gratefulness on behalf of the people who elected me. My question is connected with health. In health, especially, there are epidemics and preventing them ahead, and the results made and preventive actions taken, they have not been adequately explained in the report. So health institution, including Federal Ministry of Health and those who come below that, so preventive activities. Can we say that preventive actions are being taken? Medicines and medical equipment provision. So these are not among the questions that are repeatedly raised in connection with health sector. To solve the problems permanently, what activities are being done? In addition, there are man-made and natural calamities in our country, people displaced from different areas, to resettle them, rehabilitate them. So the performance as a country, what is the status of that implementation of our activity? Thank you very much. Dr. Desale, Honorable Dr. Desale Nchane, next. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to thank the Prime Minister for his time. I would like to present my question in reading as follows. The complex problem that our country is facing, challenges and risks, they are political born, and their solution can only be political solution and not barrel of a gun. This country in poverty due to 7 poverty years. There are problems on problems. Cycle of security crisis has happened. Endless civil wars have also come. EPRDF was not developmental dictator, but the change to the prosperity that has all the time problems are being created based on the principle of giving and taking and listening to each other. Political agreement or political settlement instead of going to political settlement. So prosperity part to totalitarian leadership by PP. It is long ago since we have departed with peace. In the past 6 years in Oromia, in Tigray, in Amhara, in Afar, still in Amhara and Oromia, continuing war is affecting the poor farmers. They are dying here and there. These non-stop civil wars, properties of the country in trillions are being witnessed. War damage in northern. There was a study conducted that was present in one international conference, North Ethiopian war. It is $32 billion, the crisis, the damage is estimated at that level. Moreover, into World Bank 22, Ethiopian damage and need assessment from World Bank, the northern Ethiopian damage, it is 28 billion USD. So the average is 30 billion USD. In the past 6 years, up until today, in Amhara, Oromia, Benishangul Gums, Somali, Gambela, the wars there, and the conflict is, the damage is estimated at, if we estimate it at 30 USD, so the total will be 60 USD, and as per the exchange rate, 130 birr, 7.8 trillion birr in Ethiopian birr. If we are to calculate in the budget of this year, so millions of youths have been killed and still we are beating the drum of war. This killing each other, and the result of that, United Nations Development Program 2024, global multidimensional poverty amid conflict, 72% or 86 million people of Ethiopia are in poverty. So foreign exchange and the corridor development, those people whose residential house and business houses have been demolished, they are also suffering. Since recently, those who have been displaced, even those who are working and living by their streets, couldn't tolerate the price hike, the living cost. So this inflation, together with the war, it is big insecurity for our country. Regarding human rights, UN Human Rights Commission, its reports and effect on human rights situation in Ethiopia, June 2024 report, in our country, big human rights violation have been detailed there. The report, as a country, it is the question of very strict actions. Systematic human rights violation is shown by that report. In the report, the heartbreaking and very saddening points are included. In 2023, 594 human rights violations. Many people have been affected. Among these, 1,000 civilians in Amhara region, so 366 civilians in Oromia, they have been killed. Only in 5 months, more than 250 have been by drones. So the civilians killed and the actual victims are much more. This human rights violation and outflow killings, they have increased in number. The drone attack is still being done in Amhara region. Civilians are being killed. Civilian institutions are being destroyed. BBC and other media have reported that. In addition to that, the democracy, the freedom of expression, gathering, and organization, there are very, very big limits as per the report. Journalists, activists, and civilians, they have been denied their right to speak out the truth. Intimidation, suffering, migration, and killing, hiding. The right immediate Amhara people's representative, Mr. Christian Tadela, Mr. Johannes Pailo, Dr. Kasa Shagar. So while their immunity was there, they are in prison for 20 months. So opposition, Aben, Dr. Tewedros, Izema, Dr. Chani Kabada, they are nearly 2 years since they have been detained. Similarly, many Amhara journalists, Maskaram Abarra, for example, Ganata Smamo, journalists, Govesai, and so many journalists. Dr. Wanderson Asafa, Assistant Professor Maro Gubien, Dr. Zariun Bahar, Dr. Masarat Kalamork, Dr. Gabrar Alamu, Assistant Professors, so these intellectuals and lawyer and civil servants and users. 182 Amharas have been charged of terrorism. They are going back for them to the court without any justice. So the justice delay is amount to justice denied. That shows. In the EPRDF time, just like that time, they go severally in the courts, but the justice as high as the sky. Those EPRDF, those war prisoners, have been released in a short period of time. But those Amharas, denied for so long. This shows what the government is doing. Following Amhara, there was no there is no emergency proclamation. The ID cards are seized, and they are being profiled and detained, and they have been exposed to inhuman treatments. Ethiopian human rights and international organizations have reported that after that proclamation has been expired, so mass detention of Amhara people, Amhara users are still going on. As per the Human Rights Commission report, many human rights violations. In 2016, Ethiopian Human Rights Commission report that has been confirmed by examination it made. Human Rights CPG and the European and American embassies, the report they have produced and their statements, it showed that this is a very serious issue. This is the government Human Rights Commission, but the report from that commission in Addis Ababa, Oromia, and Oromia, forced disappearance where there are, without showing that or telling that, they are still imprisoned. When we see the political, there are many rights violation operation. The Prosperity Party, safety net package, those who few opposition words have been suffocated, and they are moving here and there to make out their words. These international and country institutions and concerned government institution to give attention to that and give solutions and make correction to them and to bring about accountability. This House of People's Representative has not discussed it even one time, never discussed it as an agenda in one day, even once, and didn't make adequate monitoring and control as per the power given by the Constitution, and not taken any remedy or correction action that will make it responsible historically. Honorable Speaker and Your Excellency Prime Minister, I picked this no comments. This is no introduction to my questions. So the Prosperity Party, since long ago, it stopped to listen to and hear the problems of the country. Prosperity, the war we see, and the force and appreciation that it is hearing to, and the dry propaganda that it is speaking, and the white lies, that doesn't mean there are no problems. When I go to my questions, in the past 7 years and beyond, for 10 years, especially in Ethiopia, Oromia, Amhara, Afar, and Tigray regions, South Benishangul Gumuz, and other regions, and big and very magnificent gross human rights violation. So crimes against humanity, war crimes, and attacks against, that the government is not taking responsibility, and that the independent examination or research. Why the government is refusing that? Before transitional justice, this should be examined and see atrocity dismantling should be done. They should be called by their name. After that, those perpetrators should be brought to the court and compensating the affected people as part of transitional justice. That should be made part of there. As Commission, National Dialogue Commission, if we want to know from our heart, from the bottom of our heart, to have solution. So the wars in Oromia and Amhara region, these destructive wars between brothers and sisters, guns should be silenced. The Northern War that has been stopped, that was stopped by the federal government. Now, different wars in different areas, the responsibility of stopping those wars, that responsibility falls on the government, non-governmental. The responsibility comes in the secondary level. When we see contemporary Ethiopian history, so those were tried to solve by gun of war, that has made us, backward. So to detach of this circle, there is nothing that we are confident on to stop this. So in this area, though the government had the main responsibility, Amhara and Oromo liberation, to stop war and to achieve the objective they are fighting for, they should use and exploit those opportunities. National and international peace calls, they should also play their parts. I would like to ask them on behalf of the people of Baghdad that we elect and that of Ethiopian people. Thank you very much on behalf of them. Thank you. Next, Honorable Ahmed Kopi. Honorable Muhammad Ahmed Kopi. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being among us to answer our questions. You are such a far-sighted leader, and the journey to prosperity that we have begun in our country, you are recording many victories in eliminating obstacles, in building the reputation of this country on the international scale. And our hope is improving, our hope is becoming brighter. And among these projects, the success of the Renaissance Dam is one proof of this. This Grand Renaissance Dam is a generational project. It is being built with the blood and the sweat of Ethiopian people. It is a symbol and a pillar of unity in this country, and it symbolizes the strength that we have in our unity. And since the foundation to this project was began or planted, although we have faced many challenges, we are now seeing the fruit of this project after overcoming many challenges. So my question is, how much time is left until this dam is completely constructed and the ribbon will be cut? I would really like to appreciate the many successes that we have seen in this country under your leadership. Peace is also slowly and incrementally being ensured. So I would also like to ask if there's any other new project that could be a similar ray of hope to Ethiopia and to Africa that you are planning. We believe, we expect the many successes that will be replicated under your leadership. In light of the Renaissance Dam, there are many changes in the international field, and I would like to ask if there are if these international issues have an impact on the conversations around the Renaissance Dam and the conclusion of its building or construction, and what message can you pass to the Ethiopian people so that they can strengthen their contribution to this project? Thank you very much, honorable members of the council, for all the questions, comments that you have given. Next up, I will invite the Honorable Prime Minister to give his answer to the questions raised. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, honorable members of the Council. Welcome back from your break time. based on the questions raised, I would like to appreciate or thank you for giving me a chance to give an answer to these questions. Most of the questions raised are from data, based on data and reports given in the last 6 months. On some of these issues, I can refer to the 8-month report that I have received recently. It's a more updated report. First off, based on the economic issues raised, our government has a 10-year development plan, and you are all aware of this. And from this plan, we have cascaded a 5-year, 1-year plan, and sector and institutional plans, implementation plans in different institutions. So we are working on improving the big grand 10-year plan in smaller portions and sections. When we were developing this plan, some were just estimations. We had anticipated some obstacles to these plans, and some obstacles that we did not anticipate we have met so far, some human-made and some natural challenges as well. For instance, in the past few years, the plan or the estimation of growth in sub-Saharan countries was 4.28 this year, but Ethiopia has surpassed this estimation and has recorded 8.1% economic growth. So this means that although the sub-Saharan progress is not very different from the progress recorded in the previous years, Ethiopia had made a large, an ambitious development plan and is achieving these plans. And as the implementation of our plans in the past few months have signified, in the next 4 months we hope to keep this progress going, and we hope to surpass the 8.4% growth that was planned for this year. So the last 8 months, the activities that we have had in the last 8 months, as per each indicator, not Bilzagana or EPRDF or Derg progress, in Ethiopia herself, we have achieved impressive economic growth. For instance, in the economic sector, agriculture sector in Ethiopia is very distinct from other farms in the region because the scale of each farm is small. The landholders are small, and the scale has not grown to commercial farming. So we needed to bring contextualized interventions to see any progress. But just this year alone, we have seen that the coverage of these small-scale farms have grown from 17 million hectares up to 25 million hectares. This is a very big achievement. You are aware of the interventions that we made in the past, and 8.7 million hectares were in the quota type of coverage. But even this has seen a lot of increased productivity. In just wheat, if you can see in just wheat production, we have collected we have covered 4.2 million hectares of land in wheat. In total, Ethiopia has farmed more than 7.7 million hectares of land in only wheat. And from this, we expect more than 300 million quintals of product to be collected at the end of the year. So, knowing this information, this is a miracle for us because we have decided to cut the import of wheat from outside of the country. And we see that Ethiopia is now a very impressive wheat producer in the continent. There are many people who are very unhappy that we have been able to become the number one wheat producer in Africa, and not only with wheat but in coffee, in tea, and in oil seeds. We see production levels in the previous year, and we are continuing that progress these years as well. So for instance, coffee, when we had made the reformation, there was 700 million of dollars of coffee was exported out of this country. But in the past year, because coffee export was really high last year, it has grown to $1.4 billion of coffee export recorded last year. This was the highest number last year. But this year, coffee that was not exported last year has been included in the numbers this year. So only in the last 8 months, we have $1.2 billion of coffee exported. So we hope that in the next 4 months, with continued efforts, we will be able to export $2 billion worth of coffee outside of the country. So, honorable council members, some of the comment you give may not be based on the detailed reports we have, but you can see even with a bird's eye view that $2 billion of export coming out of Ethiopia just for coffee means that we have made a really revolutionary change in the coffee production and export activities. To have more than $2 billion in only one commodity, it means that the production process has been improved incredibly. We hope that with tea, although it is early years, or it is just early to estimate that we can make similar productivity levels with tea, you can see that we are currently making a lot of improvements. We are removing the eucalyptus tree in many plots of land to plant tea. And although it's not only from the agricultural sector, tea processing has also a large opportunity in agro-processing sector. So for oil seeds as well, we can make similar progress. So it's not only in Addis Ababa. You see in Jijjiga, in Asosa, in other areas as well, the development activities being done are on the correct path to solve the economic crisis that is threatening us, is also threatening other countries internationally. Ethiopia is doing a good effort, but we cannot say that it is enough. Although we have seen impressive results in the last few months, of course we know it's not enough. We know that additional effort, additional improvement is necessary, especially in irrigation. Many small dams are being built in different areas. Canals are being constructed, And even in the areas that we knew in the safety net plan, we need to, of course, advance these efforts and continue the productivity. So we can increase the plots of land. We can start farming in areas that are not farmed. We can medicate the land that is high in acidity. We can bring in machinery to bring in mechanized farming. So this year we have imported almost 500 agricultural machineries free of tax. So although it may not be only in wheat, in fruit farming, we need to farm the type of produce that is perfect for the different terrains in the country. We had visited in Hararge, for instance, a few months ago, but we saw that land that was not navigable easily has been irrigated, and they are farming fruits there. So we can expect that we will be beneficiaries of this new farming system that they are using in that area. So all the progress that we have made in the last 8 months are giving us hope for the next few months. Now, outside of the agricultural sector, when you see the industry sector, we have been working for the past few years. We've done different studies to increase the productivity of the industry sector to have it match the agricultural sector. For the Prime Minister's office has established a national steering committee, and its main job or task is to focus on the industry as a pillar sector, and then to also focus on a subsector and factory level to identify the challenges and obstacles that there are in the industries. In the last year, this committee has identified some major obstacles. The first one is obviously the foreign exchange supply shortage. To have for these industries to procure their raw materials, the fact that they did not have sufficient supply of forex had really interrupted or slowed down productivity. Now the government has tried to solve this challenge, and although it's not perfect, we have made considerable progress. The next challenge that industries were facing was a power supply, and to solve this issue, you can see. So we can say that almost up to 100% of power supply has been solved. This year, if we see, the amount of energy supplied to industries is 50% of the energy that was supplied in the previous year. So to make a 50% increase or improvement in power supply within 1 year, if we can expect that this trend can continue every year, you can anticipate that on a national level, energy supply will be solved completely, the challenges of energy supply. So this year alone, if we can continue making 40-50% supply improvements, of course, this will put pressure on the generating of power. So we need to consider power generating alternatives or new projects in the future. The Honorable House, you know that there are important commodities that are needed for the improvement of the industry sector. For instance, metal supply is the first. Ethiopia wants to work on the forward linkage in metal supply from melting metal scraps and producing the type of metal that is required for Ethiopian industries. We believe that Ethiopia has solved the pipeline that is necessary. The only element or the only step left over is to get the iron ore or to get the scrap metals from different countries. Once we can get that the metal ore, Ethiopia has established the linkages to fully supply the metal products that are required in this country. And if we can succeed in this, if we can achieve this, this would be a massive improvement. In the previous years, you're aware that there was a cement problem in the previous years. Now there is improved production in cement. Cement factories are even asking for the line or link to export cement outside of this country. But we are working now, especially in collaboration with Dangote, on improving the production capacity of the current factories, and then to also bring new factories. Next is for the production of mirrors or glass. We would like to produce glass fully in the country, similar to metal. Some factories have been established with the support of the government, and we believe that even before the cement production, we hope to fully produce glass in the country. We are creating the linkage and the factories that are needed for this: ceramics, granite, marble. If the capacity that Ethiopia has in granite production, we saw the granite production that we saw in the Somalia region. If you would see the finished product, it would be difficult to believe that this was produced in Ethiopia, because it's such high quality product. So for us to fully cover the need in Ethiopia and then to be able to supply other countries, we have the potential for it. So similar to this, ceramics and granite, instead of importing them, it's not only the forex that it pressures, that it puts a pressure on, but even the logistics of transporting such heavy materials, is unnecessary pressure. So if we can produce these completely in the country, we believe that it will bring such a big improvement to productivity in the country. So the 47% productivity that we had recorded in this sector has now grown to 61%, but we believe that this 61% improvement made only within the year, after 55 new factories have been established, and over 100 factories have gotten the license to start their own factories. So we believe that if this trend continues, we will be able to achieve the annual goal that was set. And outside of agriculture and industry, when you look at the service sector now, the Ethiopian Airlines has increased its destinations. It has finished new airports, and the profit has increased this year. We are now working on building the biggest airport in Africa, and the efforts towards this goal are in motion already, and in the next 5 or 6 months, the planning and everything, the design will be completed and construction will begin after 6 months. That this can be a strategic project, that it is a very big project similar to the Renaissance Dam, similar to this. The shipping lines is also working on modernizing its systems. The train service is improving in efficiency. Digital commerce has also improved. More than 5 companies have taken new permits in the last year in digital commerce. So this is great improvement. And as I have reported in the past, the financial sector is also reporting lots of improvement. Although the obstacles that they face are still there, but to be able to record better improvement in the coming years, these companies in the financial sector need to come together and yes, and then tourist activity has also increased in the last year, and Ethiopia has made a very big improvement compared to other countries. I'm not saying like in total tourist activity in the country, just in improvements from the previous year. So for the service sector to be improved totally, for the government to be able to give better services or better support to this sector, we need to work, for instance, on the local government, the Qabali level. I would say, for instance, we had made a surprise visit in the Shoa region, a Qabali in the Shoa region, area in the Shoa zone. So we saw, for instance, the director of that Qabali had a list of the households in the Qabali, the indigenous trees or the indigenous fruits in the area, the production levels in that area. We saw that director had sufficient information to be able to lead that local government. He knows the number of people, the number of livestock, how many chickens in that are in the Qabali, in the local government unit. If that level of initiative can be duplicated on all local government units or administrations, if this level of data can be available, it would really improve the service that the government can give to the people. I know that we need to build the ability to give better service on the Qabali level, because it would give such a breath of fresh air to the people, and I would just like to encourage the local governments to continue with similar efforts. The next plan perhaps I'd like to talk about is the Masob project being conducted or planned by the Civil Service and the Planning Commission, and we hope that in a year or in a year and a half this project will begin. This Masob project is based on the culture that we have. In our culture, we have one masob where we present a lot of different types of food in one masob. So we want to, for all the ministry offices, to give their services in one location. So for one person to get a trade license to go to the Ministry of Trade, and then to go to the banks to get another service, instead of business owners running around to different places, we would like to provide a one-stop solution. And when this project is launched, we believe that the House will support such a project. It will be supported with very new digital systems, and this is being designed and constructed by Ethiopians, so it will keep improving, and we believe that service complaints about the service that the government gives will be reduced through this project. The next one, so with agriculture and with service, we see that the 8.4% improvement planned for this year will be achieved. No doubt they will be achieved, and the progress in the last 8 months have proven this. With regards to income, in the last 8 months, we have collected more than 850 billion birr. Although this is a great numbers to record, as you know, the expenditure of the government, the improvements to salary have been increased, so still our expenditure is greater than the money that we are collecting. So with this year is still pressured on, expenditure is still high. So although we have not been able to fully cover our expenditure, there is an improvement in the levels of income collected. But still, Ethiopia is still attempting that 7% of its GDP will be to increased in income. Kenya brings in almost 15% of its GDP is collected. For us, please consider this situation when we're saying that yes, the government does not have enough as income. How will we be able to complete these projects that are being demanded by the people? So although Ethiopia is collecting only a small percent of its income, of its GDP. In terms of debt, I had reported in the past, but I can share updated information on this. Based on the macroeconomic improvement plan that was made this year, we had asked for, or we were negotiating in the past months for the debt repayment plans. And based on these discussions, up to $3.5 billion have been saved by Ethiopia. In the past years, some commercial loans were taken for projects that were not even conducted properly. So we had been negotiating for the past 5 and 6 years that some of these debts were not brought in properly, so we have gotten some relief for up to $3.5 billion in debt, and we believe that this will have a positive result in us. So we are all our stance is still that African countries are carrying unfair debts, and we still want to negotiate based on that. But based on this, the big macroeconomic challenge Ethiopia had was on our reserves. Honorable House Council, you can discuss on this later, but in 2011 Ethiopian calendar, we have doubled the reserves that Ethiopia had in 2011 Ethiopian calendar. And it's not only double. From Ethiopia's history, in all previous years, Ethiopia has never had this amount of reserves. So this is a big achievement. And we believe that for some time, it will help us. That we have stored such foreign exchange, and it will aid our activities in the next years. The income that Ethiopia has gotten from export, it's not only in the past 8 months, but from any year so far. The 8 months we have collected $4.5 billion of export is greater than last year, than the year before, than 8 years before, than 10 years before. This is the highest level of export recorded in only 8 months. So last year, the exports for the whole year have been recorded in only the exports in the last 8 months are greater than the exports from the whole year last year. So if we can keep this pace on, we believe that we will be able to record the highest levels of export in all of Ethiopia's history. And based on our ambitious plans in the last 10 years, we believe for the next 10 years, we believe that we'll be able to achieve these goals. And the prosperity of Ethiopia is near, based on the hope we have from this trend. In addition to this, we have collected $3.7 billion in remittance from foreign investment, more or less $2 billion. From other sources, we have also collected impressive forex in the last 8 months. The money that we had paid for imports was around $10 billion in the last 8 months. This was more than 3% to bring in raw materials, industry raw materials. The money that was budgeted or spent for imports we tried to prioritize the priority sectors, the productive sectors. So the macroeconomic improvement, another challenge that we had to this macroeconomic improvement was inflation, and we saw that if we do not conduct some detailed surgery type of intervention, it's so different from the trend we had last year. Last year was 29% inflation. This year it's now up to 15% inflation. So this is a big change, a big improvement. What does this mean? This means that based on the monetary improvement monetary policy improvement, because of the increased control and because of the increase in productivity in the agricultural end, in the market linkage, especially in Sunday markets, farmers are bringing their produce to markets directly, as you have seen in Addis Ababa as well. Some centers have been constructed for this, so the benefits of this are not negligible. Next to this, in sharing sharing of food. Many families, many neighborhoods are benefiting from this food sharing project. In this fasting time, when we are able to provide certain foods, we see that many families are benefiting from this. However, when inflation rates drop, the prices of consumer goods are not decreasing proportionally. So it means it's increasing at a decreasing rate. It doesn't mean that there is no growth. When inflation rate decreases, it doesn't mean that the cost of living fully decreases. If income is not increased, if productivity is not increased, it doesn't mean that all the challenges are solved. So you know that in the past years we had double-digit growth rates. It doesn't mean that there will not be pressure on every household. That's why the government, we still continue to support certain sectors. When the inflation is becoming double digits and is greater than the level of income of the individuals, of course, this puts pressure on individuals. That's why the income of households and individuals needs to be improved. For instance, we had a salary improvement this year, up to 300% improvement was done, especially on the lower rungs of salary levels. And then we would need to really improve the trading or the commercial trends in Ethiopia, so that the individuals or households have better access to consumer goods. We are, in terms of data, we need to collect all the details or the data that is available, not only collecting the ones that are impressive or favorable, but all data needs to be collected, and whatever improvement is necessary needs to be made. Households of smaller income need to be supported, and as a government, as a people, this is our assignment. And it's not that we had neglected it so far, but the efforts we are making now will make improvements in the future. So we are currently supplementing up to 84 million quintals of fertilizer. We do not manufacture fertilizer in this country, so we cannot set the price of fertilizers. But when it's being imported, what we can do is we can supplement some of this price to this. 74 million birr has been supplemented to the price of fuel in the country. The price of benzene outside of the country is expensive, so Ethiopia pays 129 birr to import fuel or benzene per liter, but it is sold for 101 birr per liter. So that means 28 birr per liter is supplemented by the government. And it's not only the poor that is benefiting from this. Even embassies are benefiting from this, because we have not identified those that are financially in need, even those who are better off, refugees, international organizations, even UN agencies are benefiting from from this 28 birr per liter supplement that the Ethiopian government is covering. Not only benzene, but for instance, gas is supplemented 30 birr per liter, and many others are similarly covered by Ethiopia. When you compare this to the countries in our vicinity, other countries do not supplement this much. So other countries we sell it for 0.4. We're selling for 0.7 or 0.8 per liter, but in neighboring countries it is sold for $1.2 per liter. So Ethiopia cannot set the price of fuel because we do not produce it. But when we import this to supplement over 25 birr per liter, the main reason for this is because there are many among the disadvantaged in populations that need our support. Medicine, oil is also supplemented, safety net. When you add up all these, it really affects the income that Ethiopia has. So Ethiopia cannot provide free food for the people if we do not produce. And this is not something that we can solve only on talks from the stage. This needs to be solved down in the farms on increasing productivity on every plot of land. We hope that we can decrease the pressure on farmers and every trader. We need 2 million quintals of fertilizer, but every day 150,000 quintals of fertilizer is transported into this country every single day. But for us to bring this from the ports, every transport to different regions is accompanied by soldiers. The soldiers have to accompany fertilizer imported. Because we do not have a port, bringing it from foreign ports is such a hassle. And then now, after it's brought into the country, we make sure that it reaches every single farmer, accompanied by military. So this is very high in costs. So although we don't want to preempt this, what I'm about to say next, in the last year, if Ethiopia cannot produce fertilizer locally, many farmers and landholders are being affected by the high prices of this. So we are conducting studies on this, and you know that although the Renaissance plans, or the focus or the priority in Renaissance is towards this sector, and we hope that maybe in 3 years or sometime more than that, we want to establish fertilizer factories in Ethiopia. This will be our second Renaissance to focus on producing fertilizer within the country, joint efforts with the private sectors, or just the government alone will have to create the linkage for fertilizer production in the country, and that will most likely be a focus or a priority area for the next year. As the data signifies, we have created jobs for over 2 million people within the country, and some 800,000 outside of the country, and then almost 45,000 people men and women, or male and female Ethiopians, are working for international organizations or companies while living here, working remotely. So, although the need for employment is really high, for us to be able to create job opportunities for all these numbers, it's not a minor accomplishment. So the service sector 38%, other sectors 20%, etc. So as you all know, the corridor project and other unique initiatives have created jobs for young people to work in the daytime and even at night, even taking night shifts. So the beginning is really good. Our working culture is improved in this country. So we believe that this is impressive, undeniable. Like we've said, inflation has decreased this year, export has improved, our income has improved. Agriculture, industry, and service sectors have been highly productive. The economy is very healthy and at a hopeful stage comparative to other times. Ethiopians, I don't believe that there are any Ethiopians who can deny these achievements. It's not only something that we say here from on stage, but it's something that is tangible. You can see when you go from Arat Kilo to Kazanchis, the improvement is tangible. People are always asking, oh, where did you get this money from? But when we conduct these projects like the corridor project, it's because we want to leave beautiful cities for our children. We do not want our children to be desiring to leave the country to go outside. We want to improve the neighborhoods that were really shabby neighborhoods, difficult even to look at. We're improving all these neighborhoods. It's not only in Addis Ababa, outside of Addis Ababa too. I just visited Harar in Jagor. What I saw was miraculous. The people in Harar, you're here, I know you're hearing me. The work, the improvement that was done in Harar and Jagor, for us to create such beautiful spaces for our children, it proves only our productivity, our fruitfulness of the efforts this year. So we're making such hopeful improvements that all these African nations, leaders of African nations, are asking, please guide us, teach us how we can manage space better. They're asking, when our children go out of their homes, having playgrounds, having convenient living environments for our children. So I really hope that you can understand the infrastructure improvements that we're making. We've constructed more than 200,000 kilometers of road in Addis Ababa, water lines, power supply lines. Remember how Arat Kilo was when the rainy season came? It was always mud. There was no, movement was very difficult. But now the water drainage lines have been constructed better, so everything is cleaner now. So jobs have been created. The corridor project has increased the price of assets. With regards to the construction of houses, although we do not need comparative data very much, you know that under the EPRDF there were some 160,000 houses constructed in over 10 years. But for us, we have built 167,000 houses in only 5 years. So comparing to 15 years of progress, 15 years of progress, what we have constructed in the last 5 years is way, it surpasses the numbers. Although we need more work, we are very glad for the progress for the numbers recorded. You have seen houses or families who had to be relocated within the city. They are now living in houses that they didn't have in their previous neighborhoods, schools that they couldn't attend in the past, roads or playgrounds that they could not access in the past. There is not even one family that was relocated without being paid compensation for being relocated. Of course, there will be people who complain, but we care about the poor or the disadvantaged sections of our population. Our aim is that we do not want our children to grow up sleeping on cots anymore. This government is really focused on bringing prosperity to those who are of lower income. The Riverside projects that we have been working on in the past months, the miracles that are being conducted in Harar, Konso, and even here in Addis Ababa and in Toto. This was a town where if there was a river, you couldn't pass by it because it smelt. They were dirty. The rivers were dirty. And for us, if these projects to clean the rivers do not impress you, I don't know who it will impress. We're also constructing parking spots where we didn't have parking locations in this city. For instance, everybody parked on the side of the street, but the parking lots that are being constructed are impressive. And this corridor project in all the different cities that it is being conducted in, all the cities named, it may be different in the different cities, but there is such hopeful progress. I would say that certainly Harar is very impressive, more than the other cities, because Harar has a lower income than all the other cities I named, but because the people in Harar are people who love their city, who love each other, and are very generous, they have been able to construct such beautiful areas with the small budget that they had. So I would like to make a call that we continue to improve these trends. And in any individual or institution that sees we're negotiating with the IMF, with the World Bank, with African leaders, with the renowned economists, so that we can continue the improvements that we've recorded this last year. The results that we are recording among all the challenges that Ethiopia has never been seen. And I hope you can look at it through this lens. With regards to conflict is formed and grows, or if we are unable to identify the causes for these conflicts, and if we're looking at it just from a surface level, if we do not understand that there are many different layers to conflict, if we see only the triggering point, people like this cannot bring a solution. There is something else when you go lower to the structural level of why these conflicts are happening or are being initiated. Any problem solving, any institution that would like to be a problem solver needs to see
So many research and studies have been conducted to prevent conflicts. A lot has been written. Peace is very expensive commodity. It should be constructed. But there are two controversial things regarding peace. One party said, pacifism, they say, no problem. Whatever attempt made, don't react. If you are beaten, if you are insulted, if you don't respond. So as conflict requires two parties, you can avoid it if you are not reacting. There are some philosophers. Pacifism for individuals, it's a good thinking. It's not bad. If targets triggers me and I leave it, that's no problem. But people elected who has the only power to use power, that has a responsibility to keep communal interests, then it's difficult. When the land is taken, the government cannot say, let them take land. The government that has been elected, if they are to overthrow and it keeps quiet, that's difficult again. That's not natural. Instead, government should give priority to peace, should speak out about peace and work diligently for peace. When there is no disturbances, you cannot jump into war. There are criteria. You should have a very adequate, justified reasons. Do you have adequate reason to go into war? That's one question. Second, do you have enough power and authority to stop it by using power? If anybody stands up and tries to solve issues by force, that will not be appropriate. Does conflict brings about solution? Can it attain the objective or the result it wants? The force is proportional. Force should be used. That's to be asked again. Is the government using proportional force? When these are fulfilled, government have an authority to use power, and it has that authority for justice and for permanent peace. It may go into conflict. We are fighting to bring about peace. That's why we say if it's just war, the objective is to bring about sustainable peace. It has the power to use force. This is open knowledge to the world. Anybody knows. In Ethiopia, the problem in Ethiopia is different. There are two basic breakage of problems. One is the culture we have from earlier times. When Lijiyasu, there were no forces fighting for seat, for power. When Mengistu come, so there were no groups here and there in a PRDF, and now it is a culture. When new government comes, before it established its roots, let's uproot it. This isn't the culture we know. There is no history of peaceful power transition. This has its own problem. The second one is it relates with socialist thinking. It's widely in Africa and Ethiopia. The socialist wave that affected Africa, it is a pandemic that affects Africa. This socialism disease, especially in Ethiopia, it has brought leveling. It was in Somalia, it was in Tanzania, in Zimbabwe, in many African countries. It was spread to many African countries. They were immersed by socialist ideology and thinking. But there is no leveling to the level in Ethiopia. We label people or groups as enemies. We don't construct houses on the tomb of enemies. There is no experience of peaceful negotiation in Ethiopia. starting from the in 1960 Ethiopian calendar, when political thinking, political parties, that students, they had, students had, similar ideologies. They were split into left and right without having those students who have pen. Instead of arguing by papers and writing, they started to buy and to borrow weapons and kill each other. That was no students in the country. These students, due to the conflict with the government, when they failed to stay in urban settings, they went to the forests. Those students in universities, within themselves and with other forces, they fought each other. EPRP and a Simba war. After they come from the forest, when they started to understand that rebellion is not useful, even after 20, 30 years, they cannot see each other. So some of them, if you have seen the book there, after 40, 15 years, they are still there, blaming each other. They don't say, and then they don't blame each other. When usefulness is, and in old age, we don't see any change. This labeling problem, I am not sure whether it is in all African countries, but it is very strong in our country. When we see a glimpse of good things, it is to the level that we cannot speak out. It is very serious labeling. In Kazanchis, if you see that hashish locality, when we are transforming to this level, they don't, the political party that has no problem even to appreciate that to the slightest level. That is hopeless. Only labeling. This issue, people, government, elected government, Arat Kilo slogan, this has become a very ordinary practice, not to the, but it's including those who are one leg in the parliament and one leg in the forest, those who are dreaming of taking power forcefully. In Ethiopian history, we can see these forces, these liberation forces, turbulent liberation forces. In the first place, they affect their own people, the people they claim to help. So as I'm struggling for you, I'm to kill you, I'm to rob you, I'm to rape you. As I'm struggling, everything I do is holy, permitted, they say. This is in Oromia, in Tigray, in Amara, everywhere it is. Ethiopia and elsewhere, we can see that. Imagine, if you take Al-Shabaab of Somalia, one Somali citizen, national, one Muslim, in Ramadan months, to kill other Somali, other Muslim who is fasting, in what we have done. They equip with themselves, they arm with self with bomb and kill. But they claim that they are struggling for Somalis. They are dead to the people they are struggling for. There is one saying in our country. So they say, for the sake of ox, they slaughter the ox in itself. This means the people here, they say they have taken our ox, let's fight them, robbed it and take back our ox. That kind of propaganda is done. After that is done, people come together, they prepare to fight, and as they need food to take, they slaughter the ox then after they start their journey. So the ox they are fighting for, they have killed it and they are eating it. So they say, for the sake of ox, they have killed the ox. For the Oromo people, for the Amara people, they are killing the people they claim to fight for. They are not useful. Honorable Dr. Desalegn, Honorable Dr. Desalegn. He has made a very wide introduction and has raised one question. For that question, he has answered to his question by himself. As he has raised the question and answered, we can pass it over, but to the respect for him and for the respect of this house, let me react to some of them roughly and then pass them over. One is this, war, this warring government is said, refusing people not to plow, not to produce, not to take fertilizer. Why you didn't listen to them? Where people gather in your city, in your own city, where peaceful citizens are acting, when it explode bomb, why you kept quiet? When elders went to their elders, women and men, who force people to stand on their knees and walk on their knees, why do you deny that you know them? Most importantly, you and your party are being actors. The Tigray war, why did you say you were leading that war? You were part of group leading that war, against that war. So there is a saying, the hyena who went to other country and said, I don't think that's appropriate. We shall examine our critics, but you have to take the scale and the balance. That would be helpful, I would say, because for peace, you know how many times and how we have called for peace. The other thing that surprised me is that your government, you said that priests are appreciating. We are not with Fitarar Meshash. Why priests are doing here? What priests are doing with Press Moges, where Fitarar Meshash, it is known that he has no living. If we are called Gudi Casa, that would be very beautiful. How Priest Mogose will come in our area, because we are not longing for yesterday. We are not working to strengthen yesterday. We are working to make better tomorrow for our children. Even we are facing what we shouldn't have faced. We are Gudu Casas. This thinking, Addis Alamayo, the writer, he stoned up the question, if he see what Ethiopia is, why we shift the blame, would have said, I will think that author will think. Our government is very open for critics in and not experienced above. Those who have mic and those who have mobile will speak about our government. Opinions, raising opinion, people are arrested. You said you are here in the parliament. Before you come to the parliament, I was no member of this parliament before you. If in the parliament open insult that like the one you did is not permitted, we were here, we know. So if people are to be arrested by what they say, they were labeled that they are warmongering, war-loving. You are insulting us here if you are not arrested or imprisoned for what you have said. People are not arrested for what they have said, for their opinion. After saying that we are war-loving, you have said that we do what we deserve. If you add that we shall take the palace in 2 weeks, you will also be arrested. When force is added to destroy or to demolish the people elected government, if those who speak on the YouTube any journalist who speak on the YouTube. So I don't think at this time the people of Ethiopia will be surprised, but you have said people are speaking the way they want, whatever they want. I don't think that we have passed any time like this. We don't say this is problemless and holy. It is not. There are issues that should be explored, that should be corrected among what you have said. That may be possible, but in the arresting, in the accusation or charging, the government should keep itself open and examine itself. The government who say that I'm free from any problem cannot grow, cannot develop, but we have to keep the balance for the generation and for your party itself. It will be harmful. The current government, your party's chairperson is a member of my cabinet, the chairperson of your party. Your party leadership in Amhara, in Addis Ababa city administration, they are among the leadership. This is the government we are leading or managing together. As we are here, we are together, you and us. There may be laziness that should be corrected, but regarding war, let's go back and see 100 years history of Ethiopia. In hundreds, in century, in 7 years, the only government that has fought with no neighbor. That is the only government in Ethiopian history in the past 100 years. We have fired no bullet, no single bullet. Let me tell you what I know in person. In 1983, 1984, that has established up until Ethiopia 1919, in 6 years, first with South Sudan, Itang, then with Sudan, then with Eritrea. It has fought, without including that of Somalia, in 7 years. In the Derg regime, you know the history. In the Imperial Sun, the same. But in the past 7 years, we have fought with no government. It's not because there is that something conflict is a trigger, but we know we have grown up in conflict, and we know the harmfulness of club within the country. With Benishangul Gumuz, we haven't mediated peacefully and brought them back home. Gambela, in Amhara region, in the past 2-3 years, more than 70 people have come peacefully within 2 or 3 years only, 2 days only. In Afar region, in Somali, we have made so many peace negotiations. That's why we are seeing improvements. About the people who are beneficiaries, you have said about them. This parliament, how many times this parliament has visited the people who have said, didn't you go to them and visit? I have seen on media visiting them. In the earlier days, in the parliament, issues arrested due to these reasons. You couldn't be visited. Even those imprisoned, they didn't know where they were imprisoned and kept. They were blindfolded released. They even didn't know where they were others. This has been changed a lot. There are things remaining. We are beginners. We can make no corrections, but it's not comparable. We have made big changes in the prosperity with every measurement cannot be compared to the EPRDF, with its organization, thinking, and practices, and the principalities. They are not comparable. This is needless to mention this to you. We, when we are elected, we have been elected. Where we can be government alone, but for the sake of peace, we have worked with the opposition and together established the government. This is in need of peace. We have declared those who were armed and fighting to come peacefully. This is for the sake of peace. Because we know the benefits of peace, we say here and there, peace, 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 including national dialogue. That's what the agenda begged for. In thousands of people, any idea they have, freely they are raising. That is like that kind of platform. This should be strengthened, this national dialogue. This is useful. On one part, if you say there is problem, and to turn out and to demolish the constitution, and on the other, but we are saying no, we are not to demolish it, but we have to discuss with the people, and with the say of the people we can change. This cannot go together. For example, in connection with justice system, in one part, you file charges. That is no delay. Our work is not to file charges against the suspects. If you are to judge it, the check and balance will disappear then. If they are not accused, if they are arrested and accused and charges are filed against them, that's good. But to administer freedom itself, because we don't have adequate experience for that, so the government should be patient for that. In the past, I've said in the parliament here that we are negotiating with oppositions, with Oromia group and with Amhara groups. There were no negotiations. Amhara and Oromia both, every corner, every group, left and right, they are negotiating. They are negotiating, but they don't admit that. They send elders. When we say X is negotiating, those that are negotiating
የለውም። አላማ ለሌለው ነገር ደግሞ መጋደል ተገቢ ነው ብለን አናስብም እና ሰላሙ ከማንም በላይ እኛ የምንፈልገው ጉዳይ እንደሆነ ቢታሰብ። ሁሉ ነገር ጨለማ ነው፣ ሁሉ ነገር ጥፋት ነው፣ ሁሉ ነገር አዘቅት ነው፣ ሁሉ ነገር የለም ላሉት ክቡር ዶክተር ደሳለኝ እኔ ለርሶ ነው ያዘንኩት። ምክንያቱም በዚህ ሁሉ ጨለምተኝነት፣ በዚህ ሁሉ ፔሲሚዝም ድንገት እድል ቢቀናውት ለኢትዮጵያ ሕዝብ ምንድነው የሚሰጡት? እርሶ በጨለማ ተውጠው ከጨለማ ብርሃን ያወጣ፣ ከጭንቀት ብርሃን ያወጣ ተስፋ እንዴት አይሰንቁም? ይሄን አልቻላችሁም እኔ መጥቼ ቀይረዋለሁ እንኳን ቢሉን ነው የሚሻለው እንጂ ሁሉ ነገር ጨለማ ከሆነ ጥሩ አይደለም። ፖለቲካ የሚፈለገው በጨለማ ውስጥ በችግር ውስጥ ተስፋን ማሳየት ነው፣ ለውጥን ማሳየት ነው፣ ወደዚያ ሰውን መምራት ነው፣ መጨበጥ ነው እንጂ ችግር ብቻ መናገር አይደለምና የምንውልበት የምንሰማው የምንነጋገርበት ጉዳይ በገደል ማሚቱ ተመልሶ እያስተጋባብን እሱ ነገር እየኖር ነው እንዳይሆን ጥንቃቄ ቢደረግ መልካም ነው ለማለት ነው። እና ይሄ ሁሉ የመለስኩት እርሶ ምላሽ እንደማይፈልጉ ቢናገሩም ለተከበረው ምክር ቤት ክብር ሲባል አንዳንዱ ጉዳይ ቢታይ ብዬ ነው። ካነሷቸው ጫፍ የወጡ ክሪቲክሶች እና ሂሶች መካከልም ቢሆን ለኛ ጠቃሚ የሚሆኑትን ጉዳዮች ግን ፈትሸን እንወስዳለን። ማደግ ስለምንፈልግ መለወጥ ስለምንፈልግ ከማንም ወገን የሚነሳ ክሪቲክስ በግርድፉ መጣል አንፈልግም። ሚዛናዊነት ግን ከርሶ እና ከመሰሎቹ እንጠብቃለን ለማለት ነው። ፕሪቶሪያ በሚመለከት ፕሪቶሪያ ታሪካዊ ስምምነት ነው። ለብዙዎች ልምድ የሚሰጥ ስምምነት ነው። ያለቀ ጦርነት ያሸነፍነውን ጦርነት ነው አቁመን ሰላም ያመጣ ነው። ለሰላም ያለንን ከፍተኛ ጉጉት በኢትዮጵያ ታሪክ ውስጥ ማንም ሰው ቢያገላብጥ መንግስት እየተዋጋ እያሸነፈ መቀሌን ለመቆጣጠር አንድ ቀን ሁለት ቀን ሲቀረው ለሰላም ድርድር አይቀመጥም። የለም በኢትዮጵያ ታሪክ ውስጥ ለምን ሆነ? ሰላም ስለሚያስፈልግ። በዛ ሂደት ውስጥ በቀሩት ቀናት ውስጥ 5ም 10ም 20ም ሰው የሚሞት ከሆነ ወገን ነው የሚሞተውና ያ መቅረሱ ጠቃሚ ስለሆነ ነው ድርድሩ ያስፈልገው። ድርድሩን በጣም ከፍተኛ ጠቀሜታዎች አምጥቷል። ባለፉት 2 ዓመታት ምንም አይነት ውጊያ አልነበረም። ትልቅ ነገር ነው። የትግራይ ህዝብ በውጊያው ጊዜ ሰርቪስ አያገኝም። መብራት አልነበረውም። ባንክ ሰርቪስ አያገኝም። ትራንስፖርት ሰርቪስ አያገኝም። በርካታ ችግሮች ነበሩት። መንግስት እንደ መንግስት ፈርሷል። ያን መልሶ የሚያቋቁምና ቤዚክ ሰርቪሶች ፕሮቫይድ የሚያደርግ ኢንትሪም አስተዳደር መፈጠሩ በጣም ጠቃሚና ውጤታማ ተደርጎ ይወሰዳል። ያም ሆኖ በስምምነቱ መሰረት የሚጠበቁ በበቂ ያልተፈጸሙ ጉዳዮች አሉ። አንዱ ዲዲአር ነው። የተወሰነ ሙከራዎች ቢኖሩም ዲዲአር በተሟላ መንገድ አልተፈጸመም። ዲዲአር አለመፈጸሙ ፕራይመሪሊ የሚጎዳው የትግራይ ህዝብን ነው። ማስተማር፣ መቆፈር፣ አገር ማልማት የሚችሉ ወጣቶች በወታደር ስም ተቀምጠው ለትግራይ ክልል የሚሄደውን በጀት እንዳለ ለቀለብ የሚያውሉት ከሆነ ትግራይ ውስጥ ልማት አይመጣም ማለት ነው። በቢሊዮን የሚቆጠር ገንዘብ ነው ለነዚህ ሰዎች የሚውለው በየአመቱ በየወሩ። ያ ገንዘብ ለልማት ቢውል በርካታ ጠቀሜታ ሊያመጣ ይችላልና ዲዲአሩ ለአጠቃላይ ሰላም ብቻ ሳይሆን ለትግራይ ህዝብ ተጠቃሚ ስለሚያደርግ በተሟላ መንገድ መፈጸም ይኖርበታል። የተፈናቀሉ በሚመለከት በራያ እና በጸለምት ጥሩ ስራ ተሰርቷል። በወልቃይት አካባቢ የተጀመሩ ጉዳዮች በተፈለገው ደረጃ አልሄዱም። አሁን በእኛ በኩል ማስተላለፍ የምንፈልገው መልእክት
we want to convey the federal government starting from tomorrow is ready to relocate to set
ያ እንዳይሆን እያደረገ ያለው ሂዩማኒቲ እና ፖለቲክስ በጣም ተቀላቅሎ ነው። በተፈናቀሉ ሰዎች ላይ የሚሰራ ፖለቲካ ጉዳት አለው። እነዚህን ከፖለቲካ ነጥለን እንደ ሰው ዜጎች ናቸው የሚጎዱ ብለን በትብብር መንፈስ
if by using sense of support and assistance, Ethiopia has big land. That's not a problem. The issue that come after that, we can make it through negotiation and discussion. In the past 2 years, through President Getachew Reda and Vice President Tadesse Werde and Tzadkan Tansai, that administration led by them has helped to stop for 2 more years no war. They have made many efforts. Though we have not blamed them for the previous war, we have to appreciate and extend our gratefulness not to have war for 2 years. This 2 years time that we have given has expired. This has expired. There are an issue that require no legal revision. When legal revision is improved and what activities have been done so far should be evaluated and with minor changes in a manner that respects Pretoria Agreement, to have the interim government to work up until upcoming election and prepare the people for election. That's expected from the interim government. To do this, President Getachew and the Vice President Getachew, we have done with the Vice President, we have done many discussion and many different proposals have been submitted. In addition to that, with the parts TPLF and other parties, we are discussing with them also, and with them, as per this discussion, we make changes to the legal framework, and by making minor changes, we shall continue the interim. Changes can be done to individuals. Individuals may be changed. We are to evaluate the performance, blamed for weaknesses and appreciated for strengths. There may be changes. The Tigray people, we know when I discuss with them in different way, they have expressed that they want no more war. People of Tigray doesn't need any more work. Anything can be solved through discussion and understanding. Tigray and all Ethiopia, no one needs war, and I hope that no war will come. But sometimes, in the individual's level, defense force in Amara And Tigray, there may be individuals who think want to make benefit of that. My advice is that's not good. It's not helpful, I would say. That's not good. It will take no place. What's beneficial and what's useful is to discuss. We can answer to everything. If we want to exaggerate things, if we are, brewing war, there are adequate reasons to start war, but we don't want, because we benefit from peace every day. The Tigray situation, we can, after evaluating through discussion and the negotiation, up until the coming election, especially DDR, and bringing up those displaced people, we hope that, and we are talking with different forces. When we finalize that, we shall disclose to the people what we have discussed. And then, regarding justice, there are no problems that we have inherited, the disease we have inherited, and current problems. We have done extensive work to make changes, and we are seeing changes, even if very small. You see technology establishing and constructing ICT wide area network, and court management is doing a lot, and we hope that will be finalized soon in connection with courtrooms and with data. We hope that problems will be solved. We have tried to expand traditional courts, but to make the reform adequately and to make it in a fruitful way. So it's better, instead of me to ask, better you are leading the government, you are closely working with courts. So on our part, the Minister of Justice, police, the prosecutor, we are trying to see what's going on there. But regarding court, your support is needed. I think that. Regarding education, the question, that's right. The Honorable House, what would like the House to understand is that in areas, those people, those who fight, they are masters of illiteracy. They're saying not to get medical treatment, not to plow, not to work on the farmland.
There are people who are intercepting that fertilizer doesn't reach the farmers. There are people who wear some, like the skin of hyenas on their hands, saying that it's a bulletproof protection from bullets. Would people like this benefit from education? A few months ago we found a group carrying a child of a hyena, saying that it would protect them from bullets. So you see such illiterate lords of illiteracy preventing our children from getting education. They are bandits. They are worse than anything we have heard in the past. Laureate Tsaggaye Gabramedin has a poem about this. There are people who create noise so that you don't get a chance to think, so that you don't get a chance to reflect on reality. So for us, we are working to combat all these obstacles. We are working on especially the initial education in kindergarten, nursery, providing books. We're building a lot of schools because we understand that education is priority, it's important, and we believe that in the future, in hand with the people, we will continue to work on it. In terms of health, we've heard that there are some early warning issues. We understand this challenge, we see this challenge, but we are building some centers, including CDCs, we hope that we can save the lives of many citizens through these projects. But because we do not produce a lot of medication that is required in this country, we have a challenge in reaching or in giving a quick response to health challenges. A country that does not produce medication, fuel, fertilizer, always ends up spending its money in transporting and the logistics of importing all these essential items from abroad. So when it comes now to those who have been displaced, there are people who are being returned to their homes. I don't think it's useful to exaggerate the number of displaced people. What it does is actually it prevents those who are displaced to their return back to their homes. So we will keep strengthening the efforts that we've been making so far. In terms of projects, we have received questions, especially about the Renaissance Dam, the road to the Renaissance Dam, about people in the area not receiving the support that they need. So we will look into this, we will search into this. But what I will say is that without the proper study being done, a lot of rocks or stones were taken to the area, and we see that a lot of projects are launched without doing an efficiency study, and a lot of places we receive complaints about, the government promised to do this, government promised to do that, but what ends up happening, what happened is that the efficiency study was not done ahead of time. So in the future, in order for us to complete the projects that we stand, we need to do the proper study ahead of time. There are so many lessons that we need to learn from previously failed projects. Any job is a project. For any project that we start, it's important for us to understand the capacity that we have to conclude these plans until the end. If not, then it ends up becoming a debt. It ends up becoming a waste. So for us to continue to answer the questions and the demands of this population, we need to conduct every project having done an efficiency study ahead of time. In terms of the project that was raised, you know that we are conducting it for the Renaissance Dam. You know that we did not get even one birr of foreign aid or a loan. We, for 2.5 months, every single car that brought in some raw materials was accompanied by military from Djibouti all the way to the location. Of course, importing it is expensive, and then the logistics of transporting it all the way over to the project location is also another cost. We also have another challenge, and it's not in all areas, but in some specific areas, there are areas where people would ask for roads to be constructed, and we would find able construction companies to handle those roads. But what would happen is the people would then now say, why didn't you hire someone from our area? Why didn't you hire? And we would see they would steal fuel from the cars. They would hassle the drivers, the professionals of those companies. Even the tires of the transport cars were taken off by the people. So we are trying to respond to the demands for development, but there are even cases of people burning government farms. This money is yours. This money belongs to the people. This is your own wealth. So why is it being destroyed by your own hand? So in the Renaissance Dam, a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles. We met a lot of obstacles while constructing this Renaissance Dam, and we hope that in the next 6 months we will be able to complete this Renaissance Dam and cut the ribbon, the inauguration. And why we need those 6 months is because the area is also a very hot area, so hopefully we want to do it in the rainy seasons. We hope that by next year, this will be a historical project, saying we have constructed it. We will be speaking about it in the past tense. With regards to the foreign relations, with Egypt, security departments, we have had discussions once or twice. I personally have discussed with the authorities from the country. We do not. This Renaissance Dam does not pose any security threats. We kept assuring them that our goal is only to produce electricity. So then they asked, what if we face a drought? What if... So we said, no, we understand that if Ethiopia faces a drought, obviously there will not be any water in Egypt because Abai goes from here. So if drought is what you fear, then the protection measures need to be done in Ethiopia. So we are here, we're doing a green legacy project, we have a cloud seeding project, and we're trying to assure that if Ethiopia is protected from drought, then Egypt has nothing to fear with that regard. They say to the president that, oh, you had made a promise in Egypt, but we want to be people who keep their promise. I assured President Al-Sisi that once this dam is filled, not even 1 cc of water will be missing from the Aswan Dam, and that we have been able to assure that has happened. So if that president had really done the work on ensuring smoother diplomacy with Ethiopia, we would have had a simpler smoother relations now. But we believe that if we collaborate, if we work together, both countries and both people can benefit. Ethiopia and Egypt have lived together for thousands of years, and we will live together, we will continue to live together if we can accept this reality and continue to work in this collaborative spirit. I believe we have positioned ourselves for smooth diplomatic relations with Egypt. We believe that it is symbolic for Africa. This dam is symbolic for Africa. It was a place where we solved, or we saw our weakness, and we saw our past mistakes, and we still sacrificed a lot to make it a reality. So if we can show this as a symbol to other African countries, if they can make the necessary sacrifices, the necessary decisions, they can also create improved situations for their people. So we are very proud at holding such a symbolic achievement. But here we only have we only have one singular achievement, one university, or one Lalibela, or one Renaissance Dam, but we want to keep duplicating these successes for us. And as we have discussed in the past, this question of having a port, we always we say it is correct for us to want a port. For us, for a country like Ethiopia, with the size of the population, for us to not have a port is really a difficult situation. But they tell us, yes, for the international community understands that our demand, our need for a port is legitimate. The process is what we need to discuss, whether we're talking about Abai, the Nile, or whether we're talking about the Red Sea. The topic itself is not taboo, but we just need to have the proper discussion so we can get a port in a legal, in a peaceful manner. Some people say that every time we raise this issue, they're just trying to find favorable status before the people because there's an election coming up. But that this argument does not hold water. This question has been raised by different bodies in political discourse. But it was only raised by the government in the past 5 or 6 years. And maybe you have read in the Meddamar books. This was something I had been working on for a long time. So towards the end, at around page 240, I want you to look at it again. The topic says the geopolitical perspective change. It says that we need a change in our geopolitical perspective. When we are talking about the Red Sea or the Nile, it says we have two great waters. You all know, you have all seen this book. The book says, the book shows our perspective about these two waters, our stance about these two waters. I want the House to understand that the narratives around these two waters, we have been working on this. We have been conscious about this previously, and I placed it in the Meddamar Tulid book, or the Meddamar Generation book. It's all in the open. You can read it. Our need to get a port on the Red Sea, Somalia, Djibouti, Eritrea. It's not something that should cause conflict with all these countries. All these countries have a 500-kilometer sea line, shoreline. So it's something we can share and something we can all use equally. Recently there's some noise from Eritrea about our need for the port. I just want to say before this House that Ethiopia has no desire to attack Eritrea in order to get a port on the Red Sea. Our only desire is for us to discuss, let us negotiate, let us find a means where we can following the market, following the demands of the market, let us find a solution. We do not want any conflict. We do not want any wars. We hear a lot of accusations to us or from the Eritrean people as well. These accusations don't hold water. The Ethiopian population is our brother, our sister population. Our desire is to work together, to collaborate. In another light, or in another perspective, for Ethiopia, we do not anticipate an attack from our neighboring countries. We do not fear an attack from neighboring countries. We have equipped ourselves, and the only reason why we are equipped is to sustain peace People anticipate that there will be war with Somalia. There were some talk about it. You saw how we solved it. You saw how when there was a conflict between Kenya and Somalia, and we stepped in and we helped them, and we mediated. Similarly with Sudan and South Sudan, you saw how we mediated. So we want peace in this region. We do not want any instigation from any parts. And of course, if there will be any instigation from our neighboring countries, we will give the appropriate response. But you can rest assured that we will not instigate any conflict. But what I want to assure the people is that the case of the Renaissance Dam, the case of the Nile, is directly linked to the sovereignty of the Ethiopian people. It's not about the Prosperity Party. It's not about this house. This is something that cannot be limited, that cannot be curbed. Any peace-loving world power, individual, group would only want to support the negotiations between us and our brothers. They would help us, for all of us to be beneficiaries of this, to find amicable solutions. Because all we desire is a peaceful solution. So, and then the issue of the Red Sea. The issue of the Red Sea is similar. We only want amicable solutions. So this world is a world where one individual has a company where he wants to travel to Mars and to use or to have a civilization on Mars. So why is it difficult for a nation to dream of prosperity, to dream of growth? We do not even want to grow alone. We want to grow with our African brothers. We want to grow in negotiation and collaboration with the Nile, with wheat, with fertilizer, any other resource that we can share. And I will assure that this journey of prosperity will continue to grow, peace will continue to flourish in this country. And any group or individual that wants the prosperity of this people would collaborate in conversations and negotiations. And I hope we will stand together, balanced for prosperity in this country. Honorable Prime Minister, thank you so much for the responses and explanations you have given. The 21st convening of the House has been concluded officially.